I think I think it might be just about the right time then, Robbie. Maybe let's ask one more question of the other Pete then. I'll ask a question of the both of you and let's see if we do a compare and contrast then. So what excites you? You know, both of you got a pedigree of working in this sector. So what excites you most about working in tech? Let's start with Mr. Lee first because we've got him.
Well, I was going to say Mr. Brown could take that one, but
Oh, Mr. Brown, whichever then.
For me, it's impact on customer. So, having that intimacy with customers, knowing that you're releasing software that can change the experience, improve basically their banking experience, make it easier for them, help protect them through fraud. That for me is the real reason why I like banking, because you have that direct connection with the customers and you can see your impact every day in the things that you do.
Super. Okay. Then right. Okay. Other Pete. It's very confusing when we have two Petes on the call, isn't it? What excites you most about tech then, apart from the party in the office behind you?
I know, and apologies for that. I need to find a quieter space next time. For me, it's the people and AI opportunities that we're in at the moment. AI has been around for a long time, but actually it's been opened up because of the open source nature of the technology and the APIs and the data. And we're in a situation where it's a bit like when we launched the word digital going back a decade or two ago. I feel like we're just opening up opportunities across the whole industry, and we're one of the leading companies to actually land Gen AI solutions into production. So when we're helping 30 odd million customers, 1 or 2 people around the UK, it's a real powerful delivery vehicle and linked around with a great culture that I've obviously got in the background and all of the people around me. Just can't get better than that, really.
Brilliant. All right, look, Pete, thank you so much, because I know we've got so many experts to pack in as well, but thank you so much for your time. Robbie, I think you're going to introduce us to Helen.
Yes, so thank you very much to both of the Petes there. That was very, very insightful. And welcome, Helen, to the stage. I know Pete mentioned briefly there what you did in your role, but perhaps you could start off with a bit of an introduction to who you are.
Yeah, hi Robbie, thanks for having me. So I look after 2 labs within the platform. One of them is the Intelligent Gateway Lab, so that's about how people can engage with us as a bank. So when you phone up, you'll come in and you will all be familiar, I'm sure, with phoning up a big organisation like Lloyds and having to say who you want to speak to. My team are the team that build that, what we call an interactive voice recognizer system. So we take what you want and we use some artificial intelligence and we work out what you're actually saying and where you want to go, and we'll point your call in the right direction. The other team that I work with are the self-service team, which is basically all of your ATMs. So the way that you get money out of the bank. So it's very much on the forefront of how we are connecting with our customers, that we look after and make sure that all the technology, and that you can get your money when you want your money. And if you've got questions about your money and your bank account, then you come through our systems to be able to talk to a banking advisor and query about that.
Wow. I must say, Helen, certainly familiar with calling up, and I will say our systems work fantastically well. So
Good.
Your team's incredible. So Helen, just going to lump 2 questions into one here. I feel like they're quite closely related. Would you be able to start off by telling us what does a software engineer do? And then would you be able to help us bring together or bring to life the world of a software engineer?
So a software engineer, they do all sorts of things. So, there's what you would expect is that they're writing code. So we have lots of software engineers that write Java code, they'll write Python code, but they also do the design. So they will work out what it is that a customer's trying to do. So we will work with our customer journey managers to understand what that customer journey looks like, what is it that they want the customer to do, and then how do they design that in the code. So it's not just about sitting there writing code all day, it's about understanding what are we trying to solve, what problem are we trying to solve for our customers, and how can we do that using the technology that we've got. So that might be that we write a new customer journey, or it might be that we're amending a customer journey, or we are trying to make sure that all of the applications that we've got within the bank all keep working. Lots of things that a software developer gets involved in. No 2 days are the same, and that's the fantastic thing. And you're also always learning. You're always looking at what is the best way of solving that customer problem. And as Pete said earlier, we've got AI solutions coming into the bank. So we've got opportunities to learn lots of new things. You never sit on your laurels. When I started working as a software engineer lots of years ago, it was a very different type of environment that we were working in. We're using different languages. We're now using new languages. We're still using Java, but we're using Python, and we're using lots of other languages to make sure that we are always doing the right thing for the customer.
And I think that's a particularly important point, Helen, there you've mentioned about learning, and given on the theme of apprenticeships, all about learning, but that doesn't stop for our full-time colleagues. So you've mentioned the languages have changed over the years. How do our colleagues keep up to pace with the latest languages and developments in the field?
Oh, there's all sorts of ways. We are very lucky within Lloyds Banking Group. We've got a fantastic learning organisation. There's lots of opportunities to go on formal courses. So we encourage our software engineers to go and do formal courses, but also day-to-day learning. You know, I took myself on a Python course last year because I wanted to learn Python because it was something that I was interested in. And I got myself a drone and worked out how to connect it to my laptop and how I could fly it about. Now, that had nothing to do with what I was actually doing at work, but it was something that I was interested in, and work were able to support me with that because they're really keen to help all of our engineers keep their skills as current and as up to date as possible. I could then take that I'd learned and apply it into work. And it means that I can have really good conversations with my developers when they're talking about how things work. I understand it. And that's why it's really important that absolutely everybody keeps their learning going, regardless of whether they are an apprentice or whether they've been coding for 20 years. You're always learning.
Wow, and I'm sure you would agree, Helen. Learning is the key, keeping yourself engaged at work and keeping up to date with new developments. Now, speaking of new developments, we're all aware of AI. We've seen the headlines, we've seen the various models that have come out. What impact is AI having in the field you work in?
Well, AI is impacting absolutely everywhere, isn't it? I mean, one of the things that we were just talking about today, we had a catch up with all my engineers, and we're looking at how we can use GitHub Copilot so that we can help develop our code. And it should, if we're going to do some learning on it, we're going to get a couple of people to start using it and then share how they're using it. But that will help us to develop code quicker, because what it'll do is it'll give us we will be able to take it and put in the standard formats for our code and what we want to do, and then it will generate a lot of the code that we want to do. And then that frees our engineers up to really think about the tricky parts of the problem and not just how they're going to format their code and all the sort of standard methods and classes that they'll be using. So it should be a real time saver.
Sorry, Helen.
Sorry.
Well, thank you so much for that. Just finally, if you'd have to define the culture in Lloyds in one word, how would you define it?
Oh, it's all about our customers and doing the right things for the customers.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Helen. Do greatly appreciate you.
That was amazing, isn't it? And I feel like, thank you, Helen, because I think there's like so much great insight in here. And always the challenging Lloyds Careers Live is how we manage to squeeze everybody in. So I wonder if, Dan, on our next section, if we can manage to get hold of, we've got Victor and also we've got Mark as well. So if we can manage to bring them all on stage. And Robbie, I don't know if you want to stay with me on this one. And I think, first of all, let's have a chat with Victor. So Victor, what's your role then? What do you do? We've heard so much now about platform and software engineering. What do you do for Lloyds?
Thanks, Ian. Thanks for having me here. First of all, yeah, I'm quality engineer lead within Pete and Pete's world, really. So, quality engineer. Now, I started my career as a software developer, and then it's been nearly 20 years now. Started off as software engineer, however, moved into quality engineering quite early in my career. Have done different roles. Now, when I come to talk about quality engineering, um, quality engineering, as the word goes, is the emphasis and the focus is on the quality itself. Now we can talk about quality. It's a really broad aspect. The main aspect really is uh, previously we were talking about software. It's kind of kind of changes the language from software to a product, how a customer sees it. Customer doesn't see a software, customer sees the product. It could be a banking app, it could be a technology elsewhere, customer sees it as a product, and the software supports the product and enhances the use of the product, usability of the product for the customer itself. And the main focus really is quantity is important, and how we roll out things and as many products are available is great. However, what stands really out is the quality. The ones that stand out is the quality. And as quality engineers, our role is to ensure that the products that we develop meets customer expectations and satisfies customer needs. That is the heart of the things. Now, in quality, it could be something to do with the functionality of something. It could be something to do with the performance, which is a bit different. Which is, for example, I have a banking app, and that works really that provides the needs for what I need to do with my banking app. It could be transferring money. It could be applying for a credit card. It could be anything else. Now it goes into other areas such as performance, which is it responding quick enough? Because the moment when we start see the applications or products lag.
Yeah, I mean, we've all had those moments, haven't we, where we get the spinning wheel, or the screen just goes
Absolutely.
blank, and then we think, is this us? Is it something else? And all of those things that are in there as well. So I get the impression then that I'm having contrast in there, that there's a certain, how would you describe the kind of skill or mindset? Because we talked about, an apprenticeship will give you the technical skill that you need, but I get the impression from you that there's a certain kind of mindset that suits a quality engineer over, other types of roles. What do you think?
Absolutely. I think the first mindset I would say is having a customer mindset really. First of all, not necessarily looking at it as a requirement, but looking at what a customer would need as an end product. That's the first thing. The second thing is attention to detail really. Basically, we are looking at the product, and we want to make sure that it is doing what it is supposed to do. So attention to detail is it's a key aspect that we need to look into. And also in terms of in terms of, is the product really accessible? Thinking beyond what your capabilities and capacities are, having a wider embracing others needs. That's a key quality, and that's something that we need to consider. For example, a visually impaired, a blind colleague or a customer would want to access a product. We want to give similar kind of experience. Does my product meet those experience? For example, today in the Zoom, you've got the show captions in there, which meets that expectation. Similarly, within banking, we want to make sure every single product that we roll out, it meets customers' needs across different cohorts.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Only because we're super short on time, I'm going to let Robbie bring in Mark now, so we get just another contrast on different types of things in there. Robbie, over to you.
Oh, thank you, Victor, for that. Mark, are you here?
I am indeed.
Perfect. Well, welcome to the call, Mark. So would you like to start
very
off by just giving us an introduction to who you are?
Okay, so I'm one of the old ones of the team. I've been in industry for about 37 years. I joined IT when I was 18. So those that can do the maths can work out how long I've been in the box for. I've been in a number of industries, from Formula One, Ministry of Defence, and I've spent the last 16 years in banking. And I have to say, the last 5 years of that has probably been the most exciting. Just for background of what I do and what I manage. I manage the DevOps arena, which is a combination of cloud and service. So I manage all the applications that our fellow colleagues just discussed into live, and when they break, we're the team that basically has to manage and make sure that they are brought onto line back within line of SLAs that we have both from regulatory and push nodes within the bank. So it's a very exciting team that I manage, and there is no minute that's the same as the one previously.
Well, thank you, Mark. A wealth of experience, some may say. And with this experience, would you be able to tell us a bit more about DevOps? So you mentioned it there, but if someone watching, they might not understand necessarily what that means. Could you tell us a bit more what DevOps is?
Yeah, so DevOps is actually a blend of development, which we've heard quite a lot about, and operations. And operations is basically the maintenance and maintaining those services in live. It's a methodology that integrates basically software development on one side and operations on the other, and it basically enhances the collaboration, streamlining the processes, and accelerating the delivery of a high quality software. Some may be unfamiliar of it, but understanding DevOps is basically development and ops always fought against each other. Developers want to throw things out quickly, and operators want to make sure they protect service. DevOps is basically to remove the wall of confusion between the two teams, and we basically bring in, positives in that area. So some things that the people might actually experience of positive DevOps implementations is a streaming service, has frequent updates, the platform gets new features, and it doesn't disrupt the user. Benefit from that is the user enjoys, new functionality, improved performance, and very minimal downtime. A bad DevOps implementation is, an online retailer's website is always down, crashes when there are sales on, as we've just mentioned, the little circle that wins round. Well, I could go on more, but it would take too long.
yes, as Ian mentioned, slightly shorter time, but a very critical role then, Mark. From your point of view, what would you say is the most interesting part about your role and the responsibilities your team take on?
So some of the most successful DevOps engineers, they embody a blend of technical expertise, collaborative mindset, essential for bridging gaps between the development and the operations side. And some of those key skills will run along things like automation, so making sure that things are sped up and remove repeatable tasks. It also removes human error if we can make sure that the testing's in, and I know Vic just mentioned on that. Programming, scripting, cloud computing, and a word that some people may or may not be used to is continuous integration and continuous deployment, CI/CD, which is about understanding the implementation and facilitating reliable software releases. You've got to have a collaborative mindset, so you've got to have great communication skills and be a good team player. And that's not just within the team yourself, but collaborating with external teams. One of the big key parts of this as well is problem solving. That's a real big key part of it. And it's analytically thinking and having the ability to be adaptable, be open to new ways of learning, new tools, new methodologies. And just because it worked yesterday may not be the way you want to do it tomorrow. And the big thing about it is, as technology is, almost, it used to be 5 years before the latest technology, the next 2 years, 1 month, and it's almost daily. Continuous learning, and I know Helen touched on it. We have a great promotion of education. I'm proud to announce that one of my team has just successfully passed their Google security exam. So we're constantly making sure we invest in our team, both to help the team progress, but help the individuals. And finally, curiosity. Successful DevOps engineers never stops learning. As I say, technology is always rapidly changing. So being stuck in a status quo is just going to be bad for innovation.
Wow, a very detailed and incredible answer, Mark. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Ian, I'm going to pass back over to you.
There's so much good stuff in there, and I do feel like having 5 experts on a call has been like
Incredible.
real. It's so difficult to try and kind of like get all that insight in a short period of time. But I just want to thank everybody there, because that wealth of experience that you bring. Now, this is a point in time in the year where many of you might be making applications to university or different apprenticeships, and you have choices of employers. We would always say the culture of different companies really matters. The kinds of people that you want to work with, how they behave and how they work together, and those values that they share. And here's a little film of colleagues at Lloyds Banking Group in their first few days telling us about what they like about working for Lloyds Banking Group.
Love to work at LBG.
So it was the feeling that I got when I was welcomed by my team.
Helping people in the most vulnerable of moments.
There's always like some activities going on, fun activities.
Honestly, I actually really can't appreciate everyone enough.
When I joined the group, the first day itself was very warm and welcoming.
And fun as well, a bit of fun too when you were doing the learning and stuff. And
everybody's welcoming, warm, you feel at home. satisfaction when you finish the call and somebody's like, thank you, you've helped so much, just makes your day a little bit better.
It's just been very enlightening to have a team that actually supports me and gets me going and ready for work. I've never really had that before.
As a bit of a nerd, the technology is really appealing.
The systems, they're easy to learn.
I really do love it here, and the people are great, everyone is great, coming to the office is great.
My training was genuinely fantastic. It set you up for success.
You are free to express yourself.
There's a lot of stuff to do in Lloyds that outside of work.
I found the opportunities available very exciting.
It was easier to do the training with people that you can kind of get on with and have a laugh with.
There is always something that I learn every single day I'm at work.
I felt included from the start. It was really professional, really efficient.
I really enjoy the emphasis placed on personal growth and development.
Every avenue's open, it's very friendly, people are willing to talk and share what they do.
Wow. Wow, what a fantastic video. And as someone that joined the apprenticeship scheme just over a year ago now, can personally vouch for everything that was said there. The culture is great and it's a very, very supportive environment. So now that we've heard from our experts, and thank you once again to everyone who joined, it's time to talk about some apprentices in this field and hear from them about what they think. So first up, we've got Amara from Manchester. Amara, are you with us?
Yeah, I am.
Welcome, Amara, to the call. So Amara, would you like to just start off by telling us what apprenticeship scheme you're on?
I'm on the quality engineering apprenticeship scheme, and I started in September 2024.
Perfect, Myra. Thank you very much. So new to the bank, so it'll be a great opportunity to showcase what experience you've had so far. So Amara, you decided not to do traditional A levels. What was your way of becoming an apprentice instead?
So I took a different approach compared to many students at my age, and I decided to do a T-level, specifically in digital production design and development. And the T-level, it allows you to gain more valuable experience through an industry placement, which is a key part to completing your T-level. And T-level, it focuses on specific career paths. So I wanted to come into IT, so I specifically chose a T-level that would take me into IT, which also offered a deep knowledge, a depth in knowledge and skills relevant to the field I wanted to specialise in. So that's why I felt like T-level would be the best type of qualification to take to step into apprenticeships, and that's where I am today.
Well, very interesting. And for me personally, and I'm sure you would agree, Amara, one of the big advantages of doing an apprenticeship is that practical experience. It's very, very important. Where did you find out about our T-levels, Amara, for anyone who might be wondering and watching?
So I actually was going to do A-levels at first, but I went to a careers affair prior, so when I finished my GCSEs, and I got told about T-levels, and I just felt like instead of doing 3 separate subjects, I would rather just focus on one, which was basically like in IT, but software engineering is what I wanted to do. And then that's what T-level I picked, and it's not just about coding, so it goes like through the whole software development life cycle, so from researching, planning, to designing, to developing, testing, and then also implementing and maintenance at the end. So that's why I think I chose to do a T-level rather than an A-level.
Thank you, Amara. What was the appeal of a career in technology for you, and were you concerned it's got a reputation for being male-dominated?
No, I just feel like that there were actually 3 main factors that appealed to me to start a career in tech. So firstly, creativity and collaboration. So I believe tech isn't just about coding, it's also about designing user experiences and working in diverse teams to build creative products. Secondly, make an impact. So I believe that tech shapes the future, and being part of the change is quite empowering in fields such as software engineering or cybersecurity, for example. And lastly, supportive communities. So for example, initiatives like Women in Tech and mentoring networks to offer engagement and professional support. So I believe these 3 going together, it wanted me, and it appealed to me to step into a field in tech. Also knowing that I'm quite young and also that it's quite male dominated, but I feel like having more confidence in yourself will allow you to empower and do quite well in a career in tech.
Thank you so much, Amara. Now, as Ian mentioned, we are slightly short in time, so I wonder if you can just close on your highlight of being an apprentice so far.
I think the highlight would be that so far I've been working on life projects where if I compare that to college, you don't get that. And also that and I can also see exactly where I'm progressing, how much direct impact I've had, both through from uni side of stuff and also through the Lloyd side. Plus, the supportive environment has boosted my confidence in problem solving further, and more importantly, time management. So I feel like there's skills that you're always improving, but as an apprentice, as others mentioned earlier, having that mindset of continuous learning, it will really put you in a good position to firstly get onto an apprenticeship scheme with Lloyds, and then secondly being successful and getting really good grades at the end of your apprenticeship.
Well, thank you so much, Amara, for the insights. I'm sure that'll be very, very helpful for the audience that's watching. Ian, I'm going to pass it back over to you.
Yeah, I just wanted to cheat a little if I've still got Amara there then. So we heard about like software engineers and quality engineers and product owners and DevOps and whatever. I know you've only just started, but do you have a hankering over one of those at the moment, or are you still keeping all your options open?
I think at this moment in time, I'm just trying to explore everything. So just trying to understand both the technical side of careers, but also the business side, so like the product owners. But I feel like because I did a T level in tech, and on the technical side, I'm more towards the quality engineering and software engineering sides of things because as you know, tech is getting better every day, and I feel like you have that edge if you know how to code, for example. So my advice would be to others that you know, in your spare time or during the holidays, for example, try to get into courses or try to complete like certifications, for example, like the JavaScript Essentials by Cisco. That would really help you in your apprenticeship application. And also when you come into Lloyds as well, you'll see how your like side hustles will really help you throughout your apprenticeship journeys.
Yeah, so keep those interests open. And also, I should just mention at that time, thank you so much, Amara, that also you can find job safaris available on the Forage platform for Lloyds as well. And as you say, micro certifications in Cisco, all these different things actually help. Amara, thank you so much in there. So earlier on, we promised you not just one, but two apprentices to hear from. So let me introduce you to Sufyan, who is a software development apprentice for Lloyds. Have we got you there? Hello, good
Yeah, I'm here.
afternoon, good
Hi.
evening. Oh, awesome. Okay. So what sparked your interest in tech and software then? Where did this all come from?
So I've kind of always been interested in technology since I was young because, well, I liked using computers and playing games. But I think it mainly started when I was in high school and I was put into a computer science classroom and I really enjoyed like learning how to like solve problems and break code down, and it was really interesting to like learn a new language. And from there, I decided to like pursue that path further, and I've ended up here now. So
Wow. Okay. So how did you first come to hear about technology and Lloyds Banking Group then? Because a lot of
uh,
people, might have just thought, surely everybody who works at Lloyds Banking Group is an accountant. So how did you come to hear about tech and Lloyds?
so I knew somewhat about Lloyd and technology, but I wasn't really familiar. I used to bank with them, and that's about it. But through I think it was my first year of college, and I was offered a placement year there, where I was offered a software development role for 6 weeks. And while working there, I got to learn like what software developers do at Lloyd's, how important the role is, what we do on a day-to-day basis, and it was very informative. And decided that to look into it a bit on my own as well. Got to learn a lot about it, and realize how big technology really is, even in a bank.
Yeah. So lots of people do think about, they think about the banking side. So what's been your experience of the types of things that you've been able to get up to so far in your apprenticeship
I've
in
realized that
tech?
at Lloyds we focus a lot on technology because of like how fast technology is improving and like banks are using it a lot now. So we have like online banking, Apple Pay, Samsung Pay. So we have to like always keep up with technology and make sure that the bank is also able to use this technology to like make things easier for users. And so like we always have to develop it and we always try to make it easy for the customers.
Awesome. Yeah. So what kind of projects and specifically, without revealing state secrets, are the kind of things that you're working on right now then to kind of give
So
people a flavor of, because some people think like with an apprenticeship that you're just in, like, you're just learning, but actually then they're surprised that a lot of an apprenticeship is learning and
yeah,
doing.
so I am mainly in my training phase, but my department we work in ID and authentication. So like our main role is to ensure that everyone can easily log into their accounts and authorize payments. So that's like the main gist of what we do.
Okay, yeah. And then how have you found the training so far then?
I feel like the training over here is actually very good because they provide you with everything that you need to know to like start your journey in code. Even if you're like a complete beginner, they explain everything in detail, and they also make sure that they don't provide too much at once, so you won't get overloaded. It's like the perfect amount.
Mm. So how's the training actually structured then? Do you do some of it online, in
So
classrooms, or different?
we have a whole training plan where
Okay.
most of it is done online, but there's also like these sessions where they bring you inside the training facility to do like group projects, work together. So it's a lot. It helps you socialize a lot as well, get to know other people in the role.
Yeah, so it's all kind of like it's all planned out, but then there's a kind of mix of different learning environments as well. And then how are you finding that? Because some people, so we have like apprenticeships at level 4, apprenticeships at level 6, but it's quite a different thing, isn't it, from being at college where you're kind of, or at school where you're just learning full time. It's quite a different thing, kind of learning and holding down a job at the same time.
Yeah, I think it's actually really interesting because there's a lot of us at different levels. Like I think I came out like an intermediate level because I was in college, but there's some people that are complete beginners, some people that are very well versed in it. So being able to work with people at a completely different level as me has really helped me improve my own skills.
Mm. So thinking about what we talked about, earlier on about platforms and people who are working in software engineering or quality engineering or DevOps, do you have a sense of like a favorite so far in terms of where you might head, or is it
Uh,
still, I'm going to keep all my options open?
I've worked so far in both software and quality engineering, and I
Okay.
think out of them two, my favorite is software engineering because it's like fun to like break down problems and see how far you get and like fix code.
Yeah. So what kind of mindset do you think really helps them? Because we learned like the apprenticeship is going to give you the technical skills. So what kind of mindset do you think
I
like
think
helps if you want to get into these things?
like if you want to get into Lloyd, you need to have a very challenging mindset. Like you want to always challenge yourself, do better. You also need to be quite adaptable because you're always gonna run into problems in code and stuff. So you always want to be able to like try fix it yourself.
Okay. So you need like there's a little bit of resilience in there as well.
Yeah,
If it doesn't work first, instead of getting a bit grumpy because it didn't work first time, you need to kind of channel your detective, work out what
yeah.
it is that's not right. So what's convinced you in the end then now that you're on your apprenticeship? We saw those lovely videos earlier on with everybody in there. What's convinced you that Lloyd's was actually the right
Uh,
destination for you?
I think I've been convinced since my placement really because it was like my first proper job in an office. So I was expecting it to be something like very stressful, but it was a much more supporting environment. I was able to like when I was stuck, I was able to get help. The work environment's really nice. I also do like how the work environment's a lot more comfortable, like the hybrid work style. I like how we can work 2 days at home, 3 days at home, 2 days in office. It really helps you feel more comfortable when working.
Yeah, and all of our offices are going through refurbs at the moment. So I noticed I started my New Year kick here in Bristol of trying out the gym, as you do in January in there. But it sounded quite cool, actually, that you have all of these facilities inside the building rather than having to necessarily go out as well. So, Fiona, it's been a pleasure having you this evening. Thank you so much. Time runs away with us, so Robbie, doesn't it?
Certainly does, Ian. When you've got such a high quality level of guests, it's too easy to ask them plenty of questions. Speaking on that, just thank you to all our guests that joined us tonight, from our two apprentices to our experts as well. It's been absolutely fantastic to have you. Now, the great news is, if you're inspired after hearing these chats from both Amara and Sufyan, now is the right time to apply. So if you're in years 13, or if you're in Scotland, if you're in S5 or S6, you can now apply for the apprenticeship vacancies and Lloyds is advertising. Ian, do you want to
Yeah.
tell us a bit more about that?
Absolutely. Now, there's quite a lot of them, so hold on to your hats here, because if you're looking for a career in data science, analytics, and predictive data, including AI, then there are level 4 data analyst apprenticeship opportunities in cities, name check them all here: Cardiff, Bristol, Chester, Birmingham, Edinburgh, Glasgow, Halifax, Leeds, and Manchester. I feel like a train announcer when I'm doing that one in there. And it goes to show how important data is to us at Lloyds. In those roles, you'll be working on data life cycles, SQL extraction, visualization of data. You'll be learning statistical programming languages. So there's still kind of programming within those roles as well, predictive modeling, and also forecasting. And your minimum entry qualifications for that is maths and English at grade 4, or if you're in Scotland, your Nat 5 maths and English at grades A to C. Now, those are level 4 professional apprenticeship roles with salaries starting in the region of 25 and a bit thousand, plus all of the usual financial services, sector benefits, private medical, life assurance, pension, which feels a long way off probably, and potential for performance bonus. But the closing date is the 19th of January, so don't hang around. You'll find those details in the chat and also in our Early Careers website.
And if you're thinking that apprenticeship within technology is going to be the right thing for you, our technology apprenticeship roles will be available at level 4 as well in Bristol, Chester, Edinburgh, Halifax, Leeds, London, and Manchester. I also feel like a train announcer now, Ian. As you progress through the assessment process, we will use our insight and understanding of your ambition to help you place yourself in either software development, quality engineering, or DevOps, which we've all talked about today. You've gotten a great insight into all of those. So the closing date for these roles will be during February. So if there are lots of applications, though, we're not going to hang around. We can close them early. However, just keep that date in mind. So during February. Ian, back to you.
Brilliant. No, it's always exciting when we have Careers Live. We talk about careers in Lloyds, and there's that opportunity to apply immediately. But as Robbie said, don't hang around, because sometimes they close the vacancies early. Remember, anything from tonight you can catch up on our Lloyds Early Careers YouTube channel. There are 23 or 4 episodes where we've explored so many different things, including the application process and assessment center process, because we want you to know everything that is there. But amazingly, almost our time is up. But before we wrap up, we just want to look at that question again to see how you feel about careers in Lloyds. So if we can bring that poll back on screen and say where we are. So on a scale of 1 to 5, do I think Lloyds Banking Group is is a destination for me? There's a bit more in the 4 there, which is what we wanted to achieve.
Yeah, it looks like our results are leaning more to 4 and 5 now, Ian, which is great.
Yeah, and it's this is all about exploring different careers and narrowing down possibilities, because you don't want to be spending your time making hundreds and hundreds of applications in there as well. So it's okay to have a 1 still in there. We're not going to be too devastated, but it's still quite nice to see lots of 4s and 5s in there as well, Robbie.
Completely agree, and a 1 or 2 just means I'll have to tune in for our next Lloyds Careers Live.
We got to talk about next time now, haven't we? Because we've
Yes.
got Imagine What's Next and then Next Time. You tell them about Imagine What's Next platform.
Yes, so we hope tonight's been really helpful in showing you some of the different career options you have. As you've heard from our guests, being yourself and being prepared is key. We want to keep supporting you after today's call, and the best way to do that is through our Imagine What's Next platform. So you'll see this QR code behind myself and Ian. If you give that a scan, that will take you to that platform. And on that platform, you'll find learning, more information about our apprenticeships, work experience opportunities, and over 100 mentors from Lloyds to help you on your journey. Ian,
Brilliant.
do you want to tell us a bit more about the Careers Live?
Yes, well, actually, we're going to introduce you to Grania, because we're going to formally pass over hello to Grania in Belfast. Say hi, Grania.
Hi everyone.
Yeah, tell us about Lloyds Careers Live, because February is like we go like all out in February, don't we? We push all the boats out. So what have we got to look forward to in Careers Live in February?
Absolutely. So tonight was all about careers and technology, but if technology isn't your thing, but you're still considering apprenticeship, next month on the 4th of February at the same time, 5 o'clock, it's a Tuesday evening, we will have our session in Lloyds Careers Live all about apprenticeships. So that's National Apprenticeship Week as well. So any questions that you have, we've seen lots in the chat tonight. We can answer those and really understand what apprenticeship schemes are all about, how you apply, what we're looking for, and what other areas in the bank you can come and work through an apprenticeship programme.
Well, thank you, Grania. We have loved having your company this evening. Now, as Grania mentioned, you can join us next month for another Lloyds Careers Live. Thank you for listening, everyone.
Bye for now.
Bye for now.
Thanks everyone for a fantastic Careers Live session all around technology this evening. I am just going to pop the certificate link into the chat box, but I want to thank all of the colleagues at Lloyds Banking Group for joining us here tonight. And whilst you're filling in your certificate links, I'm going to leave the session here today with a final video to set you on your way for hopefully a great career at Lloyds Banking Group. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us here this evening. We hope you've enjoyed this month's series of Lloyds Banking Group Careers Live. We look forward to seeing you next month for the apprenticeship session. Have a great evening, and thanks for joining.